Have you bought a Meta Quest or are you planning to but don't know what to play with it? In this video I'll show you over 120 current and future Quest games worth playing for you, regardless of whether you're an action, adventure, puzzle, horror or strategy fan. You can find all the links to the games and the headset itself in the description. If you haven't seen my review of the Meta Quest 3 VR headset yet, make sure to check out the info cards now. My name is Thomas and you're watching Voodoo.de VR. Thank you to my sponsors Woodghost VR, Opperman Events, Virtual Escape Area 1 and Virtual Reality Center Basel. Let's have some fun with the video and let's go!
Voodoo.de.
So I've divided the video into categories and arranged them alphabetically so that everyone can find the right Quest game for their interests. Below the video you'll find the timestamps to jump directly into a category. So let's start with the adventure category. This is about games where the focus is not directly on action but also on the story, exploration, quests and puzzles. Asgard's Wrath 2. With a playing time of over 60 hours just for the campaign about the god Loki, it is one of the biggest VR games. In freely explorable, varied environments such as a desert, a temple, a world of fire or an in-between world, we fight our opponents in physically correct battles, collect loot, solve puzzles or discover secrets. Assassin's Creed Nexus. Finally, we can sneak around the world of the assassins in VR. The rule is here, simply running around and killing enemies doesn't work. You always have to find a tactic to get rid of or avoid the enemies as silently as possible. The environments are extensive and can be explored very quickly using the parkour mode. Batman Arkham Shadow. Gotham City is in chaos again. 2 years after the events of Arkham Origins, the city is haunted by the mysterious Rat King and we have to save the city from the Rat Plague. Behemoth. On the way through the deserted lands, we fight as Outland warriors against the monstrous behemoths to end a curse that is plaguing our village. The combat system is very brutal and we travel through different areas. Budget Cuts. A stealth adventure in which we have to find the exit of the level as cleverly and tactically as possible and watch out for the evil guard robots. Kali and the Reaper Man. In this game we are in the underworld. This is a VR co-op game in which one player controls Kali in a jump and run style and the other player controls the Grim Reaper. He has to help Kali in real time to avoid dangerous obstacles in order to explore new places. The game is incredibly fun for 2 players and definitely requires some brain power. Down the Rabbit Hole. A brilliant puzzle adventure in the Alice in Wonderland universe. We have to solve crazy puzzles with 2 characters at the same time. Eye of the Temple. On the way with a torch and a whip in abandoned temples, we have to bypass or avoid trap systems. You only move with your own body, there is no teleportation and no other method of movement. Ghost Giant, a cute VR adventure game that is also suitable for children. As a ghost, we help little Louis on his journey and his puzzles. Green Hell VR. It is a very challenging survival game in which you fight for survival in a dangerous jungle, either in a story campaign or in a free mode. Hubris. In this graphically spectacular virtual reality adventure you are on an alien planet. Here you explore old ruins, look at beautiful landscapes, fight enemies and craft weapons and tools to survive. The Last Clock Winter. Our task is to repair the clock tower of a distant planet in order to save an ancient refuge for plants and seeds. In the role of the clockmaker, we create clones of clockwork devices and command them so that we can complete various tasks in teamwork. The linked chain reactions become more and more complex and interesting. Mask Maker. A VR adventure full of mysteries and wonders. As mask makers, we learn about the magic of masks which we have to solve various puzzles. Moss 1 and 2. In these wonderful adventures, you are on the move with the mouse Quill and experience a beautiful, colorful and varied world in which you fight, puzzle, jump, dodge and discover. Orbus VR. If you like MMORPGs in VR, you have come to the right place. In a huge open world, you level up your character, complete quests, craft items or hang out with friends. You could almost speak of a World of Warcraft in VR. Phantom Covered Ops. A stealth adventure in which we complete our missions on the water from a kajak. We have to proceed quietly and avoid our enemies or silently take them down. Pixel Rip 1978 and 1995. A crazy journey back in the time to the video game past. On an 8-bit game console, we have to save the worlds of pixels while simultaneously interacting with the real world. Red Matter 1 and 2. It is an adventure set in a dystopian Cold War. We follow a mysterious story while tackling various puzzles that are not always easy to solve. The game offers some of the most beautiful graphics available in VR. Star Trek Bridge Crew. Control and manage a huge spaceship with your team of 4, fight enemies and experience space adventures in the Star Trek universe. Star Wars Tales from the Galaxy's Edge and Vader Immortal. If you always wanted to stand in front of Darth Vader in real life size and fight him, or fight against space pirates as a droid Technican alongside R2-D2 or C-3PO, you've come to the right place. A must for Star Wars fans. A Township Tale. Here you can experience a varied adventure with friends. Whether you prefer crafting, forging, fighting or exploring, you can do that with brilliant VR controls, realistic physics and atmospheric environments. Townsman VR. As guards, we are in control of our people and must help them complete a variety of tasks and build our village. The atmosphere and controls are absolutely great and fit perfectly into virtual reality. Vampire the Masquerade Justice. In this stealth adventure, we are in Venice at night as vampires and follow an interesting main story, while we can also complete side quests. Using various skills such as blood cauldrons or shadow traps, we must eliminate our opponents as quietly and unnoticed as possible. Direct confrontation rarely leads to victory. Virtual reality. An absolutely fun collection of many very fun and crazy minigames. There's even a little background story about robots. Wanderer Fragments of Fate. An epic time travel adventure in which we travel through graphically beautiful areas. It is not only a matter of solving the puzzles, but also swimming, climbing, jumping and fighting. The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners 1 and 2. In this zombie adventure with an open world, we fight for survival in zombie-infested New Orleans by fighting, exploring, crafting and collecting. Walls of the Wizard. In a magical fantasy world, we have to mix different ingredients together to trigger different events. This gets crazier and more complicated over time, and we are also teleported to various places where we also have to complete tasks. Windlands 1 and 2. Armed with grappling hooks and bows, we swing to the ruins of crumbling worlds. Like in a parkour, we race through the world at high speed and fight our opponents. Zenith Nexus, an MMORPG in the style of World of Warcraft for VR. We fight, craft and explore in the open world and complete a variety of quests together with our guild or groups. Next up is the action category. Of course, this is mainly about games where the focus is on fast and action-packed games in which there is a lot of shooting and fighting. After the Fall. A cooperative multiplayer zombie shooter in which we have to survive in a post-apocalyptic world together with 3 other players or alone. We can make our own close-range and long-range weapons. Apex Construct. Are you into action adventures looking for clues to a puzzle but also like shooting? Then Apex Construct is for you. A mix of puzzle elements and wave shooter. Arizona Sunshine 1 and 2. A very fun but also very brutal zombie action adventure. You can fight the zombies with a variety of weapons and items. Or the second episode, just set your dog on the creatures. It can be played alone or even in co-op mode across platforms. Blade and Sorcery Nomad, one of the most popular VR games. Here we fight our enemies with various melee weapons using realistic physics, alone or with friends. With update 1.0, the game also gets the Crystal Hunt story mode. Breaches. In this PvP multiplayer game, you compete against each other in teams of 5 people. The planning and strategy of the attack is just as important as climbing, jumping, swinging and shooting to surprise the opponent. The maps consist of different locations such as skyscraper, a villa or an industrial area. Contractors and Contractors Showdown, a military multiplayer shooter. In teams or deathmatch, we compete against each other with more than 30 different weapons and varied maps. Showdown, on the other hand, offers a battle royale mode on a huge map. Elven Assassin, a bow and arrow game that is especially fun in multiplayer mode. We fight against increasingly strong waves of enemies on a wide variety of maps. A great game for VR beginners too. Aspire 1 and 2. A futuristic first-person shooter in which we can move freely through the levels. The game is designed for stealth gameplay, so we have to secretly take out our opponents. Genotype. You explore an Antarctic research base that is overrun by monstrous beasts and wear high-tech gloves that can print living organisms. We can use these as weapons and survival tools. Ghosts of Tabor. This is a so-called extraction-based survival shooter. We are sent on a mission and have to stay alive while taking health, hunger and thirst into account. We also have to fight against opponents and can also collect and trade loot. Gorilla Tag, one of the most popular and most played VR games. As gorillas, we play tag in various game modes. The controls take some time to learn because we only use our hands. Gorn, an ultra brutal arena fighting game in which we have to compete against gladiators. We can literally tear the opponents apart. Hitman 3 VR Reloaded. As Agent 47, we are once again on the move in various locations and have to carry out contract killings as silent and tactically cleverly as possible. The game was developed from the ground up for VR. In Death Unchained, a bow and arrow game in which we compete against a large number of opponents in procedurally generated levels. The difficulty level is definitely not intended for beginners. Into the Radius, a single-player survival shooter in which we enter a contaminated zone with anomalies to obtain strange artifacts. The game has realistic weapon handling and is not easy to master. Marvel's Iron Man VR. With our 2 VR controllers, we fly through the air in extremely action-packed scenes and fight against enemies. The whole thing is also linked to a cool story. Highly recommended for action fans. Medal of Honor Above and Beyond. A shooter with an action-packed single-player campaign that takes place in World War II. There's also a story and several multiplayer modes. Metro Awakening. In a post-apocalyptic world with limited ammunition and a gas mask, we travel through abandoned subway tunnels and experience an interesting story in the Metro universe. Onward. A multiplayer shooter with realistic weapon handling. In the matches, the right tactics and coordination are very important. There are many different weapons and maps available. Pavlov Shack. An online multiplayer shooter in the style of Counter-Strike. In quick rounds, we fight against our opponents in various game modes. We have a variety of realistic weapons available. Population 1. A battle royale game in which only the best survives. We can climb, fly or build, as well as loot and craft to gain an advantage. Resident Evil 4. The new VR version offers a gripping atmosphere and a real Resident Evil feeling. The game is not for the faint of heart and is not recommended for children. Since ammunition and life energy are rare, we always have to be careful not to waste anything and also act tactically. Robo Recall. If you like tough action, you've come to the right place. Combined with a small story, you are traveling in a futuristic city and fight against robots that have gone wild. We can even rip apart the robots with our hands. Sirento Untethered. A very fast, action-packed and brutal shooter in which we fight our way through Asian-style environments. We have both firearms and katana at our disposal. Space Pirate Trainer DX. This original wave shooter offers an addictive high-score hunt. In different waves you have to shoot down drones and avoid their bullets. Super Hot VR. Think carefully about your next move. In Super Hot VR, you have to take out your opponents before they reach you. The game only continues when you move yourself. Zero Caliber 1 and 2. A military first-person shooter in which we have to complete missions. The entire campaign can also be played cooperatively. Zombie Army VR. In a dark campaign in the Second World War, we have to fight against zombie soldiers. We use authentic weapons and can upgrade and level them up. The whole thing can also be played with 2 people. Did you like the video so far? Hit the like button and make sure to subscribe and hit the bell so you don't miss my future videos about VR and MR reviews and news. If you like to support me and for example buy this cool t-shirt here, check out the Linktree link in the first pinned comment. Now let's go on. We continue with the horror category. This is mainly about games that focus on scares, shock moments and a gripping and intense atmosphere. Not for children. Affected the Manor. A tour of a haunted house with no focus on puzzles or riddles. This is clearly about moments of fear and screams. Also intended for beginners. Why not let your friends and family play around? Alien Rogue Incursion. This horror action game tells a new story from the Alien universe. The focus here is on a gripping and terrifying atmosphere while we try to escape or hide from the fast evil aliens. Dread Halls. We are trapped in the depths of a dungeon and must explore it in order to survive and find a way to freedom. Since we have no weapon, we must camouflage ourselves, hide and proceed with caution. The Exorcist Legion VR. Warning, not for children. In absolutely terrifying scenes, you have to solve puzzles and cases. This VR horror game offers violent scenes and nasty jump scares. Five Nights at Freddy's Help Wanted 1 and 2. The intense horror jump scare fest is now available for VR. Here we have to protect ourselves from the nasty animatronics and survive the night. Layers of Fear VR. On the way through a Victorian mansion, which we can explore freely, we are drawn into the abyss of madness. You will experience crazy, cruel scenes and puzzles. Paranormal Activity: The Lost Soul. An incredibly intense and atmospherically brilliant horror game. Armed only with a flashlight, we are on the way through a spooky house in which we are definitely not alone. The soundscape alone will make you shudder. These jump scares are placed in such a way that they are unexpected and do not occur too often. Silent Slayer: Vault of the Vampire. In this game we have to remain patient and calm because we have to kill sleeping vampires in their coffins. Each coffin has a specific mechanism for opening it. If we make a small mistake, the vampire wakes up and you definitely want to avoid that. Wraith: The Oblivion Afterlife, a first-person horror exploration game in the World of Darkness universe. We play a ghost with supernatural powers and have to defend ourselves against evil spirits and solve many mysteries. Next up is the category Games for Children. This is about non-violent and relaxing games that you can show your children, but should also take a look at yourself. The Curious Tale of the Stolen Pets. A wonderful search game in VR. We have to find the lost pets without any violence. We travel to different varied areas. Raccoon Lagoon. Cute raccoons are stranded on an island where we have to help them build a home. You can complete quests and also cook, farm or mine, paint or decorate. You can also do this with friends. Garden of the Sea. A relaxing, cute adventure on a small island in which we have to look after our creatures and our garden. You set the pace yourself. You can take everything at your own pace. Fuji. An adventure with a mystical journey through nature. We can explore the area, but we can also look after our plants. It is a rather quiet game. The next category is about music games. Here you dance or beat to the rhythm of the music. Beat Saber. Are you into music games and lightsabers? Then Beat Saber is for you. In the rhythm of the music, you use lightsabers to smash blocks in the correct color and direction. By far the most popular music rhythm game in VR. Pistol Whip. A music shooter. In the rhythm of the music, we shoot at our opponents to different songs. Feels great when you are in the rhythm. Ragnarok. In this action-packed music game, you have to beat the drums to the beat of Viking music. Synth Riders. An action dance rhythm game with over 68 integrated songs and DLCs from well-known musicians. This game also has multiplayer support and official support for your own songs. With a fitness smartwatch, you can get even more information about the calories you are currently burning. Thumper. Do you like action-packed arcade racer? In Thumper, you race through completely crazy environments at breakneck speed and have to prove your reaction skills. Next up is the Party and Social VR category. This is mainly about games where playing together is in the main focus. Games that we can experience together with lots of people and friends. Among Us VR. A VR party game in which we, as a space crew, have to take care of our spaceship. But be careful, there is at least one imposter who is secretly trying to sabotage us. Dash Dash World. A fun arcade racing game in which we compete against computer or human opponents on various tracks. To make life more difficult for our opponents, there is also a selection of different weapons. Keep talking and nobody explodes. Do you like fun party games with your friends? Check out this cool game. One person uses the VR headset and the others receive a bomb defusing manual. Under time pressure, you have to defuse the bomb together. Rec Room. Do you want to do crazy things in an online world, play games or just hang around and have a chat? In the social VR game Rec Room, you can meet new people or meet up with your friends. Richie's Plank Experience. Absolutely fun for people who are using a VR headset for the first time. Let your family and friends stand on the virtual plank over an extremely deep abyss, such as on the roof of a skyscraper. Fun guaranteed. Roblox. A huge community of over 66 million players create an almost infinite number of different worlds every day in which we can hang out with friends, play fun games or complete various tasks. VR Chat. Similar to Rec Room, VR Chat is an online world in which you can meet new people or do crazy things with your friends. There are also various activities. The next category is platformer and jump and run. This is mainly about games that we can play in the Super Mario style. Lucky's Tale. With the fox Lucky Swifttail, we have to run, jump and climb our way through varied levels. There are also boss fights and secrets to discover. Max Mustard. A well-made third-person VR platformer in which we, as Max Mustard, have to save the dying planet Crunch. Then VR Adventure, a single-player VR jump-and-run platform game in which we have to save an unknown alien planet that is about to be destroyed. The world is full of traps and dangers. The puzzle category is about games that challenge your brain. There are also games in which you have to solve really difficult puzzles. The Seventh Guest VR, a classic puzzle adventure that takes players to a mysterious mansion to reveal dark secrets. Quite a bit scary too. Another Fisherman's Tale and A Fisherman's Tale 1. A brilliant puzzle adventure that requires us to think outside the box. If we change a model, the real world changes too. I Expect You to Die 1, 2 and 3. Do you like puzzles that aren't always easy to master and are also under time pressure? Then the VR escape room game is definitely for you. There are also some action scenes. Myst. We have to find out what happened on the island of Myst. An epic story is told here that we can only find out if we solve the sometimes extremely difficult puzzles and riddles. Puzzling Places. A great and relaxing game for puzzle lovers. The level of difficulty can be adjusted to your own preferences. There are over 16 different puzzles to solve and the game also has mixed reality support. Riven. Based on the puzzle adventure Myst, we have to solve the mystery of the mysterious island of Riven. We can only do this by solving the increasingly difficult puzzles for which we have to find and evaluate all clues. The Room VR: A Dark Matter. An adventure that takes place in the British Museum of London. After the disappearance of an Egyptologist, the police are investigating. Here we have to solve cryptic puzzles and devices to get to the next area. Shadow Point. To learn more about the mystery surrounding the student Lorna McCabe, we are on a mountaintop observatory. As Alex Burkett, we have to solve puzzles about light and shadow, open portals to other worlds, manipulate gravity, use magic lenses and reveal other realities. The puzzles are absolutely cool and are becoming increasingly challenging. We Are One. A crazy puzzle shooter in which we create clones of ourselves in 50 levels and then record their movements, for example to pass on weapons and then eliminate the hordes of enemies. The next category is about simulation games. There's a VR simulation for almost every real-life activity. Bone Lab. This is more of a physics-based gimmick than a real game. Nevertheless, you have many hours of fun and keep discovering new cool possibilities. Cities VR. In this cool city building simulation, you can plan and build your city with intuitive VR controls and even switch to the first-person view. The Climb 1 and 2. The most popular and successful climbing simulation. We don't just climb mountains here, but also skyscrapers and caves. Just don't look down. Cooking Simulator VR. In this game we have to cook a variety of dishes in a virtual kitchen. While we initially only cook a simple soup, later on we get down to business and cook the most delicious dishes. Little Cities. A relaxing construction and simulation game that lets players design and manage their own little city while influencing the lives of its residents. Mud Runner VR. An off-road truck simulation in which we travel on a freely explorable map and have to maneuver various trucks through sometimes extremely muddy paths. The whole thing is linked to a small story and quests. Power Wash Simulator. An ultra relaxing cleaning simulator. With a high pressure cleaner we clean various locations for hours, from simple cars to dirty Mars rovers. Great for relaxing after a hard day. Real VR Fishing. A realistic fishing simulation for everyone who wants to relax. In different modes and with very realistic graphics, we try to catch the biggest fish. Space Folk City. In this city building simulation, we built a floating city in space for our citizens. Of course, our citizens also want to be kept happy, so we have to build various decorations. Ultra Rings 1 and 2. Do you like being in the air? In Ultra Rings you can fly through an island landscape in various small planes and solve tasks such as shooting down balloons or flying through obstacle courses. Vacation and Job Simulator. In beautiful holiday paradises we play a variety of cool mini games in the vacation simulator. Or would you like to be a car mechanic, cook, salesman or office worker? Then you can do that in the job simulator. You will have to serve and satisfy a variety of customers. Vermilion. Are you looking for total relaxation in VR? In Vermilion you can create your own painting in a very realistic way. Walkabout Mini Golf. A VR mini golf simulation with many different mini golf courses that you can play either alone or in multiplayer with realistic physics. The next category is about sport games that can also make you sweat a lot. Creed Rise to Glory. This boxing game gets you moving at all times. In boxing matches against the most famous characters from the Creed and Rocky universe, you fight until you really start to sweat. The game also offers an online PvP mode. 11 Table Tennis. A very realistic table tennis simulation in which we compete in different environments, either against computer opponents or online against humans. First Person Tennis. A realistic tennis simulation with lots of movement in which we can play against human opponents online or offline against computer opponents. FitXR. The game offers hundreds of workouts choreographed by professionals. Here you can set your own training level and adapt the workout to you. The developer even promises 7 new training courses every week. Lemel Body Combat. The game offers a huge workout portfolio. The cool thing about it is that you have your own trainer who teaches you the workout slowly and well. Lots of different hitting moments and knee strikes at different levels of difficulty will make you sweat a lot. The game also supports mixed reality. Racket Fury. A futuristic table tennis simulation in which we compete in different environments, either against computer opponents or online against human opponents. Racket NX. A mixture of squash and breakout. With very realistic ball physics, we hammer into the ball and collect points. Cool beats play in the background. The whole thing can also be played in multiplayer mode. The thrill of the fight. In this realistic boxing simulation we have to compete against a variety of opponents with individual fighting styles. We have to demonstrate endurance, timing and skill. The next category is about strategy games like real-time strategy, board games or tower defense games. Dimeo. A turn-based dungeon crawler inspired by board games. We explore dungeons together in cooperative multiplayer mode. The game is also cross-platform compatible and there is a non-VR version. Ghost Signal. In this space action strategy game we fight space wars and encounter huge creatures, collect valuable loot and research to learn more about the origins of the Ghost Signal. Iron Guard. In this science fiction tower defense strategy game we fight our enemies with many different upgradable weapon towers on different varied maps. Skyworld Kingdom Brawl. A classic strategy game redesigned for VR. On a large battlefield we build and command our troops in turn-based and real-time to defend the enemy. Yeah guys, that was my ultimate game guide for MetaQuest. You will find links to each of the games and the headset itself in the description so that you can buy it quickly and easily. So, which is your favorite game from the list and which game is perhaps missing in the list? Feel free to write it in the comments. And if you see or want to see more Quest gameplay, please check out my playlist, which you can find in the info cards now. Thank you so much for watching. Give me a thumbs up, subscribe, hit the bell, and see you next time in virtual reality. See ya!
Bude.de